All right, welcome my Marshables. Let's see if we can do a Gothic window. This is the design that I have in mind. I put this together a couple of days ago using compass protractor, straight edge, and so forth like that. It's based on a golden rectangle, which is in turn based on a square, and then there's an equilateral triangle arc construction, and then there's some midpoints and some circles. I'm filming this in my classroom with curious arrangement here with the iPad, so you get the raw, unfiltered video. Here we go. So, start with a new piece of paper. Sometimes it's best even to have a couple pieces of paper to start with, because when you do your compass, it kind of needs a little bit of a pad to stab into. So there's my piece of paper. Find the bottom edge. I'm going to... This one here was about 6 centimeters wide. I'm going to try 7. The problem with making it too large is that the reach of the compass is not big enough. Most of you don't have a compass that's large enough to do a full page spread reach, but we'll see. So I'm going to come down here to the bottom edge. I'm going to come up a line or two, and I'm going to draw in the center a line that is as best as I can make it, straight and 7 centimeters long. So right there, it doesn't have to be really exact or precise, but the relationships do. So now what I need to do is do a 90-degree angle. Now in the past I have said use this right edge here to do your 90-degree angle, but if you do this for your project, you're going to do it on a sheet of unlined paper. So maybe it's best if we came around here and we just use a protractor. You can do a geometrical construction if you want, but remember how to use a protractor. Here's the base ends here. I'm going to put the center of the protractor, the hole right on the middle there, and I'm going to line up this base edge right at the baseline on the protractor, and I'm going to come up and call it 90 degrees right there. And then I'm going to draw this line, and I'm probably going to draw the line past that point. And I'm just curious here. I'm looking with the edge of the paper here, and I'm seeing that it doesn't quite line up exactly with that red line. Let me just go back and double check. Maybe I wasn't correct on that. Like I said, this is just raw and unfiltered. I haven't practiced this at all. Oh, look, I'm off a little bit. Do you have an eraser handy? I do. There you go. I kind of needed to be over there like that. All right. I gotta put the cap back on. Don't be afraid to make a mistake and erase it and fix it. Now, if I grab this, does that look a little better? Maybe I'll even do this. Maybe I'll even do just a light line. How's that look? That actually looks pretty good to me. So I'm gonna come here, and I'm going to now draw a 90-degree angle, and I'm going to extend the line past the square point. You'll see why here in a minute. I hope that's far enough. That's about the edge of my ruler. Now, I need to come over here and do another 90-degree angle. Center right on the end point there in the center of the protractor. Line up the baseline right at 180 or 0, come up here, point right there. Draw another light line. Now, one of the ways you can check and see if they're parallel is measure the distances. If it was exactly 7 centimeters down here between these ends, is it exactly 7 centimeters way up here? It looks like it's in just a little bit, so I will extend this outward just a touch. Move my pencil outward just a hair. There we go. All right, so now I need a square. The way I'm going to do a square, you could measure it, but I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to come in here and put my spike on that corner, and I'm going to open. Oh, would you look at that? I must have had this done already for a 7 centimeter. It's almost at the right spot, so open it up a little bit. right there. And I'm going to come over here and come up that mark, and then come over here to this location and do that mark. And then I'm going to draw my square. Okay, there we go. Now, I got to find the midpoint of this side here. Now, you can do the midpoint construction if you want to, but if it was 7, which it should be right at 7 centimeters, if it was 7, shouldn't it be 3.5? That's the midpoint. So I will come here and do 3.5. Looks like it's right on that, almost right on that line. I'll do another one over here. And then what I'm going to do my golden rectangle is I'm going to put the spike there on that midpoint and then open up the protractor so that it goes to that far corner. Like right there. And then I come around with that arc. And where this point ends here now is the edge of my golden rectangle. I got to do it to the other side too, so just make sure they're in the same spot. So midpoint, does it reach over and grab that corner? And then there we go. And so if I come up here now, here's my golden rectangle end. Right there, that's good. Okay, so I kind of don't need these right here. In fact, let me grab my eraser. And I kind of don't need this. And I don't need that. Now, what we're going to do for the upper arch now, what we've got right now is we've got the rectangle, which goes to, if I look at my drawing, it goes to right here. This is where the arc starts. I want to do this part right here now. The circle that you're going to have is going to come down inside here, and then you're going to do 2 more similar arcs right there. But my golden rectangle came up and ended right there. There's the top part. Okay, so what I want to do right now is I want to do the construction that would give me an equilateral triangle right here, but I'm not going to draw the triangle. What I really want is the arcs that are necessary to draw the equilateral triangle. So this was like this is Euclid's very first construction in his geometry. So I'm going to put my spike right on that corner. I'm going to come all the way across here. Tighten down my compass. I've got really a beastly strong one. This is almost too tank-like of a compass to use easily. So it's going to come right to this edge, and I'm going to draw an arc up like that, and then come over to that same location point right there. Make sure that it meets right there, which it does. Whoops, it slipped. And there we go. So that is your top arc now of the window. Okay, so now what next? I don't need these parts. We can go back in later and darken all of these lines that we need so that they're nice and thick and easily seen. Okay, now what? What I need to do now is I need to split the window into 2 different parts from top to bottom. I'm not going to use it here, but I need the line to go all the way through. So if they're going to meet up there at that top, I guess what I could do is this, is I could come down here. If I did an arc like that, can't I just come down here as well? Like that. And then switch over this point on that corner. There's that arc again, come down there. And now if I connect this point with that point there, it should split it into 2 equal ones. I'm going to draw the line lightly until you see which part we need. I have to extend it because my ruler isn't quite long enough. There we go. Now I've got the 2 panels. I don't need this line here for the upper arc, but I will need it for the lower 2 panels. So now I've got this line from top to bottom, which cuts it in right here. Now what do I need to do? Okay, so now I need to come through and do 2 more little arcs off of this. Where are they drawn from? If you can see maybe the shadow markings in my window here, this is the top of the square. There's the square right there. So I need to do 2 more arcs up here this way. So I don't need this center clutter here, so I'll erase some of that. Don't need that, don't need that. And so now I'm going to put a corner here, and I'm only going to go halfway. So I'm going to close the compass. Come on, big money. Here we go. Is that it? Little test arc. I think that's about it. So an arc right there. Come over to the end right here. There's the other arc. Should interface nicely with that other side. And then I have to do it on this side too. So just leave your spike right there. Do that arc. And then come around. Spike right on that corner. Test this. Yeah, there we go. That fits nicely. Okay, there we go. So now I have my big arc with the windows, the arch, and then I've got the panel that cuts it into 2 equal ones here, and then each of them have their own arc. So let me cut that down a bit. All right, so now, what will I do? Looks like I just need to draw the circle. Okay, so now what did I do for the circle? What I did is I took the distance from this point right here up to the top of the arch, and I found the midpoint of that, and then I found the midpoint again of this. Now you can maybe do that with a midpoint construction twice, or we can just measure it. Maybe that would be the most efficient thing to do. And then we're going to take 3/4 of it from the top. So if I get right down here and I measure in centimeters, it looks to me like that is right at 5.9 centimeters. It's not right at 6. Let me just double check because my eyes are getting bad. I already got bifocals. Maybe I need trifocals. Oh, I can stack my readers. I remember how to do that. That looks like it's 5.9. So if I did 5.9, I'll just do the math here on the side. If I did 5.9, you don't do the math on your final version. 5.9. What I want is I want to do, let's just do just 1/4 of that. Halfway would put me there. Another halfway would put me here, but I'm going to measure it off of this one. So I just want 1/4. So times 0.25. Since I'm dealing with decimals, I'll use decimals instead of fractions. So, oh, you can't use that one here. I'll use the one you use. You're probably familiar with this one. So we'll do 5.9 times 0.25, and I get 1.475. Now, 1.475 is going to be difficult to do on this because really all I'm accurate down to is the tenth. So that looks to me like just a little bit less than 1.4 or 1.5. So I'm going to measure it about 1.4 to between 1.4 to 1.5. So if I get in here and line it up, not on the line on the paper, but on the line right there. Here's 1, here's 2, here's 1.5. I really want my center point right in between there. That looks good to me. And so now what I'll do is I'll take my compass. This is where it gets a little bit creative. I'll take my compass and put the spike right there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to just open up the compass so that it exactly touches or comes very close to touching the arch. That's probably not enough. If I come around here, that's not enough to really touch. So I'm going to open it up a little bit more. That looks pretty good. Maybe you don't want it to be right exactly on it because you're going to give some thickness to these lines, but test it. Test a little bit of an arc. Does it just kind of touch right there? And then the important thing is to come around. Look at me, I'm spinning the paper rather than spinning my compass. Come around and look. Oh, maybe it's a little bit off over here, but that's actually really pretty good. I think that's within a margin of error a bit. Maybe I could move my spike over just the smallest. Oh, it really was sunk into the paper there, just the smallest. That's pretty good. So now let me draw the circle. And it should come around and almost touch the arcs. Now maybe I could bring it down just a wee little bit or something like that. This is the best proportions that I've been able to get it, so it's close. There's the circle. Okay. Now it's mostly done. Yeah, I think what I need to do is I need to move the circle down a little bit, because what needs to happen is this circle curve right here needs to merge into that arc right there. Now you can do that when they're close by kind of thickening up the lines like I did here in this one. But I think that's a little bit too off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move my center down. How much farther does it need to go down? I'm just going to guess it, maybe about right there. That's going to be my new center. And I got to erase. How much time do I got left? The bell's about to ring, and I'm going to start to get some kids in the class. Oh no, they're already out in the hallway. It's kind of funny to call that a hallway, because we have exterior hallways that really just open up to outside. Oh look, they're already outside. Sorry, I'm just small talking while I'm erasing. Don't listen to me. Or listen and laugh. I don't really care. I'm not there. I'm not going to hurt my feelings. All right, so center there. I probably ought to open it up just a little bit. Or maybe not. That actually, if I go around and check all the margins, yeah, it needs to come over just a little bit. This line may not be exactly where it needs to be, so I just move my spike over a little bit. And then I'll open this up just a hair. That looks good. That looks good coming down. There we go. Look at that match. Look at that. Okay, so here we go. Here's the circle. Oh, maybe I moved it over to the left just a wee little bit. You're going to get close with these. Get as close as you can. They don't have to be exact, because what you're going to do is you're going to thicken up the lines a little bit with your pencil and so forth. There we go. Okay, so now, don't need this. This is going to come in like so. That's going to swing down and come in like that. That comes over like this. And I think, is that basically it? That I think is the basic structure. Okay, so we had a square. We added on now to give a golden rectangle. We did an equilateral triangle construction here, although I didn't draw the lines for the triangle. I just drew the arcs. Then I cut this in half from top to bottom. Then I did 2 more equilateral arc constructions here at the top of the square. And then I found like a quarter of the distance from the top of the golden rectangle to the arc, and found the circle, but had to kind of finesse that spot right there, and then did the circle. I think that'll do it. Thank you for watching the Gothic window construction show. And as always, let's pursue the good, the true, and the beautiful.